it a certain way and you do it your way and then mess up, I don't want to clean it up because that was your fuck up, not mine.
Listen, I was feeling that Jake Paul was going to knock out Tank. This press conference made me feel a little bit more confident about Tank. I'm no cap.
He done a lot in his career, right? Not everything, but he done a lot. What people don't understand is his business is a lot.
Floyd Mayweather recently shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. He said that Davis is making his own choices and is fully aware of the risks involved in this fight. Floyd mentioned that he has offered advice in the past, but if it isn't followed, it's no longer his responsibility. He added that the matchup is exciting for boxing, the financial rewards are huge, and he'll definitely be watching when fight night comes.
Within my company, within my team, do it my way. Because if you mess up, I don't mind being a janitor to clean up the mess because I told you to do it a certain way. But if I tell you to do it a certain way and you do it your way and then mess up, I don't want to clean it up because that was your fuck up, not mine.
The boxing community has been buzzing with passionate debates about the Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul fight. Fans and experts are split. Some think the matchup is just a marketing trick, while others see it as a big opportunity for Tank to connect with a wider audience beyond traditional boxing fans. Amid all this noise, many insiders have spoken up, some supporting Davis's decision and others questioning whether this kind of fight is good for the sport's future.
And number 3, the retirement.
I mean, the backlash is just what people do nowadays. That's just, you give somebody a keyboard, you give them a phone, and they able to hide their face. Yeah, they gonna have a field day. The backlash I get, I understand. What'd you say, number 2, not fight Shakur?
Yeah, he's saying he'll never fight Shakur, that he ain't gonna do him no favors, that he ain't gonna help him make no money because Shakur broke or something like that. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't get all that. That's, you know what I mean? That's against the game. Like, you know what I mean? You at least owe that fight for the game. You know what I mean? You owe the rematch to Lamont for the game. But you owe Shakur for the game just because of the 2 style matchups. You know what I mean? But if he feel like he don't gotta fight him, guess what? We can't sit here and just go crazy about it, but it is kind of crazy.
Boxing trainer Greg Hackett voiced his frustration over the criticism Gervonta Davis has been facing. He argued that nowadays, fighters are judged for almost everything they do, often by people who have no idea what's going on in their personal or professional lives. Hackett stressed that if Davis chooses to face Jake Paul, that decision deserves respect. He reminded critics that no one outside the ring truly understands the sacrifices and motivations behind a fighter's choices. In his view, fans should stop trying to dictate who fighters should face and instead respect the dedication it takes to stay at the top. His comments reflect a growing frustration among trainers and athletes, who feel that social media has turned boxing criticism into a constant spectacle.
He done a lot in his career, right? Not everything, but he done a lot. What people don't understand is his business is a lot. This whole experience is a lot. The shit these fighters go through is hard to explain. It's hard to explain because people, they can't see it, so they can't understand it. But it's stressful to the fighters because they coming from just getting ready to fight in the amateurs, being prepared, going out there, win, get it done, celebrate, all right, we back to the next camp. To now, marketing. You're talking about marketing. You're talking about lawyers. You're talking about all this shit that you just never imagined. You like, why do I have to deal with all of this shit? People trying to keep money coming in, so they trying to come up with bright ideas. At the same time, you got a lot of people trying to get from you.
Another major talking point has been sports analyst Max Kellerman's recent remarks, which have drawn plenty of backlash. Many in the boxing world accuse Kellerman of showing bias, particularly against fighters like Gervonta Davis. In several appearances, he downplayed Davis's achievements, even suggesting that Tank had never been a real champion in his division or accomplished anything especially remarkable. These statements angered analysts who believe Kellerman is ignoring Davis's strong record and knockout power. Critics argue that this reveals a deeper bias in the boxing media, one that often undervalues rising stars while exaggerating flashy storylines. This debate shows how media perception and favoritism still shape the way fighters are judged by the public,
because Max Kellerman is full of nonsense. Max Kellerman claims that Gervonta Davis was never a champion, that we've never been a period of time when we looked at Gervonta Davis and said Gervonta Davis is the man in that weight class. Bunch of other ridiculousness pouring out of the pie hole of Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman is one of the most biased, bought and paid for journalists that there is in the sport of boxing, and to have him back talking again on and giving his opinion again about the sport of boxing, I promise you is not a good thing. But let's analyze what he had to say about Gervonta, that Gervonta was not ever a champion. That is ridiculous because Gervonta Davis was a champion for the IBF at 130. He was a WBA super champion at 130. He is currently the reigning WBA champion at 135, and there is no other champion in the division for the WBA at the moment. He is the only WBA champion that there is at 135. He had a portion of a secondary. The title at the time he won it at 140 was a secondary title. So if you do not want to count that, I don't know why you wouldn't, seeing as everybody else counts that belt. But okay, fine. He's a 2-division world champion. That is more than zero, Max Kellerman. Now, looking at the idea that Gervonta Davis has never been the man in that division is absolutely ridiculous because Gervonta Davis has really been the man in that division the entire time that he's there.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi didn't hold back either. He criticized the idea of Davis fighting Jake Paul, saying it's damaging the sport's authenticity. According to Malignaggi, knockouts only mean something when both fighters are evenly matched. Staged or manufactured fights, he argued, mislead casual viewers into thinking they're watching real competition. In a conversation with fellow analyst Chris Algieri, Malignaggi explained that while casual fans might find the event entertaining, serious boxing followers can see right through the hype. He believes that putting social media stars on the same stage as elite fighters confuses people about what real boxing represents. His comments highlighted the growing tension between pure competition and entertainment-focused matchups.
Knockouts, dude. Knockouts. People like knockouts. They don't care if you're knocking out cab drivers. Look at Jake Paul's career.
You can manufacture that though. You can manufacture that though. You can manufacture.
You can't manufacture.
To a
Gervonta
degree,
Davis.
you can. To a degree. I mean, you can't. Yeah, Gervonta legitimately cannot get knockouts. I agree. He can punch, but there's a lot of limited knockout artists though, man.
He's one of the least active punchers in the game with the highest knockout percentage of current heavyweight.
But if he was a real knockout artist,
champions.
If he was a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best of the best. Felix Trinidad was a knockout artist. He was knocking out the best of the best. If you're a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best and show us how he smokes them. But the way
Paulie,
we did when Felix Trinidad was doing it. You know, the way they did it when Mike Tyson was doing it in his prime. Okay, say what you want about the Mike Tyson era. He knocked out everyone from 1986 to 1989. Everyone got knocked out. Everyone.
Well, by your standard, you could say that Tyson was to a degree manufactured.
No, because he fought everyone that was there. Everyone that was there.
Teddy Ellis will 100% agree with this.
With the expense of
would say the guys
Witherspoon.
that were afraid of him.
With the exception of Witherspoon. No, but they all doesn't matter. He knocked them all out. There was nobody you could say in that era except maybe Witherspoon, who had contract.
You can say the same thing about
who had contract issues with King at the time. Except for Witherspoon, there is nobody Tyson didn't fight in that era. He knocked them all out. You can't say like, oh, but if he would have fought that guy, I don't know. No, with Davis, there's guys right now that have been hanging around for years. Yo, dude, when you gonna fight them? The lightweight division was stacked with talent. Even at 130, it had a lot of talent when he was there. Didn't fight almost any of them. So it's not the same thing as the Tyson era. You want to say anything about Tyson era? Fine. It wasn't as high level or something. He still knocked out everyone.
On the other hand, boxing commentator Showbiz the Adult offered a more hopeful perspective after attending the press conference between Davis and Jake Paul. Initially, he was concerned that Jake's size and power could be a problem for Gervonta. But after seeing Davis's sharp focus and calm demeanor, he changed his mind. Showbiz said Tank carried himself like a seasoned professional who fully understood the stakes. His confidence and composure convinced Showbiz that Davis has what it takes to overcome the size difference. He also noted that many people might be surprised. Jake's power might not be enough against Davis's skill and fight intelligence. According to him, Tank's technique and strategy could ultimately be the key to victory.
I beat the hell out of this kid. Listen, I was feeling that Jake Paul was going to knock out Tank. This press conference made me feel a little bit more confident about Tank. No cap. I know Tank wasn't saying much, fumbling over his words, seems bashful, but I'm looking, right? And I'm just like, bro, he doesn't feel that Jake Paul is an issue. Even though he said it, he doesn't feel like he has to whoop his ass. He doesn't feel threatened. That's the word. He doesn't feel threatened, but he does feel out of his element. I'm gonna be honest, man. It sounds like, I know everybody's looking at this press conference and it's like, number one, I know what y'all saying. It's a clown show. It's not real. Tank was paid off. It's fake. Cause Tank, when he was talking about Jake and JB, even I was like, what is he talking about?
He laughing.
What are you talking about? What does he have to do with this?
Let anything, you know what I'm talking about. Let anything. Nah, I don't have to say it right now. Don't worry about it. I don't got to say it up here. Let anything happen. And I'm going to show you and him.
So that I could understand if that's your concern. I am being extremely truthful with how I feel about this and how I'm reacting to this. My oldest son was like, I see the same thing, Dad, but you're going to get a weird response to your take.
Floyd Mayweather's name has resurfaced again, but this time not as a promoter, rather as a potential fighter. Reports suggest that Floyd is exploring a possible bout with Mike Tyson. Analysts say this move is about more than just money. It's Floyd's way of proving he still commands the spotlight, even after retirement. With all the buzz surrounding the Davis vs. Paul fight, Mayweather seems unwilling to let anyone, even his protege, outshine him. Observers describe this as classic Floyd, a man driven by competition, attention, and legacy. While Gervonta and Jake prepare for their big night, Floyd's rumored fight reflects a larger theme in boxing, the ongoing struggle among legends to remain relevant in a fast-changing sports world.
And so many people that are known where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events. That's what kicked off the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum. And so there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is announced it at this point in time with Mike Tyson, and in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis-Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime and actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is bigger than Floyd. Let me say Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson's bigger than Floyd Mayweather. I still think his name is bigger than Floyd Mayweather, even though I know Floyd has made more money in the pay-per-views. And I think that had a lot to do with, again, social media area and otherwise. But the combination of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson and the question about what is going to happen in that fight.
Former heavyweight contender Eddie Chambers also weighed in, urging people not to underestimate Gervonta Davis. He reminded fans that boxing history is full of examples where smaller, more skilled fighters defeated larger opponents. Chambers argued that Jake Paul's size advantage isn't as important as Davis's technique, speed, and ring IQ. While he acknowledged that Jake has improved, he believes Jake still lacks the experience to handle a world-class fighter like Gervonta. Chambers warned that underestimating Tank would be a serious mistake. not just because of his power, but because of his strategic mindset and discipline. Insiders say Gervonta is treating this fight very seriously. Those who've watched his training camp describe him as focused and intense. At press events, his body language has been composed and determined. For Davis, this fight is about more than just money. It's about pride and opportunity. A win against Jake Paul could bring him huge mainstream attention and help him grow his fan base far beyond traditional boxing circles. While some critics see the event as a circus, Davis seems determined to prove he can succeed both commercially and competitively. His preparation shows that he wants to control the story, not be controlled by it.
Press conference, and you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's gonna get this money for sure, because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games, don't hit him in the back of the head, don't rabbit punch him, don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson, first of all, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not gonna have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, when you see a car crash. Like, you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. There's going to be a lot of people watching it, but I gotta say, man, you really can't blame the guy on what he's doing. And there's a lot of criticism flying on Gervonta Davis. It's not Gervonta Davis's fault that boxing took this turn. This turn of these exhibition fights and people not caring about the belts and all of that stuff came with Floyd Mayweather Jr., man.
Former world champion Timothy Bradley has been outspoken as well, and he's firmly backing Gervonta Davis. Bradley called the matchup easy money for Tank, pointing out that Davis's skill and experience make Jake's challenge look small by comparison. He noted that Davis has fought and beaten elite opponents, while Jake has faced only a few professionals. Bradley respects Jake's effort, but he believes the gap in experience is simply too big. He predicted that Tank's speed, defense, and timing will expose Jake's flaws within just a few rounds. In his view, the only real danger for Davis is underestimating Jake. As long as he remains disciplined, Bradley expects a dominant performance. But beyond predictions, this fight represents something bigger, the direction boxing is heading. The line between sport and spectacle is blurrier than ever. Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul embodies that shift, a clash between traditional boxing excellence and modern celebrity influence.
Contract, yeah. You prove your innocence and say that it ain't fixed. Because check this out. Tank ain't gonna lose this fight. Hell no. Hell no. Tank ain't losing this fight. Too many hoes. Man, Jake don't have enough experience. Yeah, man, it's gonna be taking candy from a baby. Jake is missing the rules. See, this is what happens when you don't grow up in the game. When you don't grow up in the game, man, at a young age, this is what happens. You start reading your own press clippings. That's what Jake is doing. Fighting this lower level competition, and now he think he the ish. Now he think he the man. He ain't the man. You kidding me? He is not the man. Oh no. Yeah, false sense of security. Now he trying to pick on small folks, right? And I don't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, I'm just saying size-wise. Yeah, that's another thing, boxing one-on-one. You can't pay attention to size.
For boxing purists, this new era can be hard to accept. For promoters and marketers, it's a goldmine. But no matter which side you're on, the fact remains that this fight has already achieved something rare. It has the entire world's attention. Fighters like Davis are learning to adapt, balancing integrity with showmanship. Whether people love or hate it, this matchup proves that boxing isn't fading away, it's evolving.
The heart, right in that damn dog. It ain't the size of the damn dog, and I told y'all that, man. Yeah, it's the same thing here. And it's about the smartest dog.
Tank too smart for him. Tank got too much boxing IQ for Jake, man. This gonna be easy. Easy. Like I said, man, Tank, please. Please, man. Don't do this to boxing, bro. If there's anything, man, shoot. Man, we can put together some kind of like account for you, a GoFundMe account or whatever, bro. And we can, hey, all your fans can give you $1, bro. So that way you don't be blowing this fight. It's easy, bro. This sparring section. You know, look, I'm so confused. I don't know what the hell to call this. The circus? Just call it a circus. Yeah, just call it a damn circus. Because, you know, 1 minute they said, oh, this is the fight.
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates.